Welcome to Scenario 8 Roundup. 8 Honor Shield patterns on the counter. Let's go. Let's start with the Starfall Inversion. For deviation drops, Scenario 7 left us at 86, and at the end of Scenario 8, we're now at 295. I've added additional information to track, which includes total level 4s, total level 5s, the total Lunar Oracle selection crates, as well as the cost of these crates, and the tracker counter for the Starfall Collection. Lunar Oracle selection crates give the ability to obtain a Lunar Oracle deviations from the last Visional Wheel event. However, for me at least, this is another item you're able to hoard, which not only transfers to upcoming scenarios, but also stays in your inventory at all times. These crates very much fit with my affinity for collecting items in Once Human, and if you're new to these roundups, collecting is going to play a big part here, so strap in. I ended Scenario 7 with 5 selection crates, and I've ended Scenario 8 with 28. You'll notice the cost of these crates greatly outweighs the total on Starfall Collection, and this is because once you hit the weekly cap of 2,500 gravity crystals, any earned after this point will be reduced by 70%. For example, if you've earned 1,000 during the event, but you've already reached the 2,500 cap, only 300 gravity crystals will be counted towards the Starfall Collection. Now you do still receive the total 1,000 gravity crystals in your inventory, it's just your earnings for Starfall Collection will be reduced. Here is the final number nonetheless, 35,220, and we ended Scenario 7 at 13,645. This is an increase of 21,575. I'm also tracking these Starfall mod boxes I've been collecting, and this has been noted down as well. You receive a mod box every time you collect an unstable aggregate during Starfall Inversion. There are 4 you can obtain, and will receive a random one every unstable aggregate you collect. I will be opening all these boxes before I transfer over, as they do go to Eternal Land with you, but transferring them back out is never worth the points. Out of all Starfall deviation drops so far, only 3 have been 5/5 deviations. These are 2 mini wonders and 1 mini feaster. My ultimate goal, much like Luna, is to get all limited deviations at a 5/5 level. I set up the table almost like a bingo card. Any red cells have not yet been obtained, and any other cells have been made note of the amount of times caught at each level and activity rating. I've added buttons just to the side of the cell, which will +1 to the cell, allowing me to easily add the deviations I've caught throughout the event. I've opted not to include total crate opens for this spreadsheet, as from Lunar Oracle results, I found that the inclusion of crate opens didn't show an accurate depiction of actual deviation drops to opens, as opening too many crates too quickly would result in less deviation drops. Showing total crates didn't serve any purpose other than to show total Lunar Whispers spent. And next, there's been a recent change to the challenge shop. The Butterfly Emissary crate 1s have been removed. The next crate in the series is here, Butterfly Emissary crate 2s, with new cosmetic pieces, furniture formulas, and items. Every open has the chance to drop something out of the set, is to get everything available in this crate. Taking note of total opens and other rewards received out of this crate, Suko's mark and cosmetic tokens. Any item that I've opened will be marked with green, and the goal is to complete the checklist. As Butterfly Emissary crate 1s are no longer available, I'm now keeping hold of any that are still left in my inventory. I currently have 18. Prism Crate Hoard is an ongoing venture, and many of these have been obtained through phase rewards in the seasonal goals and stronghold conquest victories and defeats. There's never really need to open these crates, and you can pretty easily complete your Stellar Stairway every time it resets, so I decided to just let them stack up and gain as many as I can. In a recent update, the stack limit on Asterism crates changed from 100 to 1000. Here is the total for Scenario 8, 744, an increase of 131 from Scenario 7's 613. If we scroll a little further down, you can see my Stellar Planula stockpile. Stellar Planula is a currency earned through various tasks in a scenario. These include story missions, rift anchors, morphic and mystical crates. You're able to earn 6 per day through public crisis events. You're able to spend Stellar Planula through Severin in camps, but many of the available items I don't need, so I instead let it collect. My total is now at 8,512 in Scenario 8, my previous 7,188 from Scenario 7. A few months ago, an update made Stellar Planula now stacked to 10,000 from its previous 1,000 stack. Next, my armor and weapon mod parts. These are earned through dismantling mods in a disassembly bench, and will grant either weapon or armor mod parts, depending on which mod they are used for. They're not too hard to come by, but having a massive stack can be an achievement in its own right. My current stash for both is 65,797 for weapon parts and 43,325 for armor mod parts. My Scenario 7 numbers were 57,319 on weapon and 43,103 on armor. Next, my Sproutler Hoard is probably the oldest collection out of everything here. My first scenario, I had a particularly quiet server and took advantage of the cargo conquest by standing in the middle and farming up roundup free spiral loot. And I gained around 25,000 spiral loot this way. As of scenario 8, I'm down to 21,000. My spiral loot spending is very little, and for the most part it's just solely used for buying premium fuel at the very start of a scenario. Interesting note, spiral loot now stacks to 100,000 from its old stack limit of 1,000. Formula blueprint fragments are next. These are earned through disassembling furniture and wallpaper formulas, and depending on the rarity will depend on the amount of fragments you receive from dismantling. Formulas are a random drop you can receive when looting storage crates, cabinets, drawers and bins around the map. You can get lucky and get a rare formula drop, but the vast majority will be commons and uncommons. Formulas allow you to learn how to build certain furniture and wallpapers for your base. If you already have that formula unlocked, you can either sell them to other players or dismantle them for fragments. These fragments can then be used as a gacha pull for other furniture and wallpaper formulas. Here is our current amount at 1,291, and our number from scenario 7 is 1,064. And there's an increase of 227 formula fragments. I've also been noting all formulas I've been getting throughout the past 2 scenarios, the rarity and amount of times received. The end of scenario 7 left us at 132 furniture formulas to 34 wallpapers. We now sit at 183 furnitures and 42 wallpaper formulas. So let's move on to loadout. I've solely just used KVD on this one. We ended scenario 7 with 23,793 deviants defeated, 29,160 explosions triggered. At the end of scenario 8, we now have 46,873 deviants defeated and 51,858 explosions triggered. Definitely my biggest increase yet. My collection level has gone from 236 last scenario to 265 at the end of scenario 8, a 29 level increase. When new content drops in Once Human, we tend to get new prize pools added to the wish machine. Without a doubt, always the best to stockpile Starcrom, spend them when the new prize pools are added. Many will focus on legendary blueprints, which give the most amount of XP when enhancing. This allows me to add plenty of levels to my collection each scenario. Even if you never intend to use the weapons or armor you are getting the blueprints for, always still enhance them and convert the stars to a weapon or armor piece you do use. On the topic of converting, you can also gain more conversion attempts than what the game currently stacks to. As a base, you receive 6 conversion attempts per week, maxing out at 18. But as you can see, I'm sitting currently at 31. This is because Once Human tends to give them for free as maintenance compensation rewards, and as I don't change my setup too much, I'm unintentionally hoarding my conversion attempts as well. Another stash to explain is my Stardust die amount. Stardust die is used to change the colour of furniture in the game. Each time you change the colour will cost you an amount of Stardust die. This building has never been my strong suit. I'd never had much of a need to dye my furniture, so I instead keep a collection of Stardust die in my inventory. Stardust die is a material that constantly stays in your inventory, which I like, and can be obtained through the challenge shop in Scenario Challenge at a rate of 500 per month, and has recently been added to the new Dreamland Fantasia event through the Dream Merchant, with a purchase limit of 30. We ended Scenario 7 at 1,512, currently sit at 2,028. My monthly limit reset during Scenario 8, which explains the 516 increase. On the topic of Dreamland Fantasia, let's talk about the rewards available. The ultimate reward is the Azure Melody for the Chefosaurus deviation. If you've seen my Scenario 4 roundup, you know the history I've had with Chef, so it's very nice to see some love for my favourite deviation. We've got 2 so far, one with 2 bad traits and one with 2 good traits. But we still have 2 more attempts on the cultivation rewards, which I'll be attempting to complete throughout Scenario 9. My current score is 432. Just to keep this tracked, as Deathry Riot, my PB is 1 minute and 59, and Dreamy Ascent is 2 minutes and 3 seconds. Dream Pop Merchant, I've bought the limited Candescent top and the Blossoms vehicle decal. Maxed out the 20 Dream Pop tickets, but one of the Stardust dies and 6 of the Butterfly Emissary Crate 2s. The Dream Pop minigame is something we'll focus more in the next scenario, which is a minigame that allows you to get random deviation drops by shooting them out of the sky. Very cool event with the potential for some amazing deviation drops. Currently my best 2 are a 5/5 paper doll and a 5/5 logging beaver. Continuing on with deviations, let's showcase some noteworthy catches. Been very lucky with being part of a team that is down for Nightmare Silos, which allowed me to get some very nice 5/5 drops. Shout out to everyone in the FinalSpace Discord server, all are some legends. Okay, so starting off strong with a 5/5 Growing Pains 2 Dr. Teddy, absolute unit with an excellent trait, very needed and useful for team play. Also got a 5/5 Hitch 37 with Cheer Up 3, another great deviation to get at a 5/5 level, both gained through Nightmare Silos as well. And I also gained a 5/5 Growing Pains 2 Polar Jelly, a 5/5 1 out 2 Voodoo Doll, and an extra dimensional cat Heavy Ginger with Cheer Up 3 and at a 5/5 level. And something new I'm going to keep track of is name card cosmetics. I won't go too much into detail on how to unlock them, as many are tied to in-game purchases, but many can also be earned for free. As the game tracks the total unlocks you have, let's make a note of mine at the end of scenario 8. Avatars, I have 48 out of 115. Avatar frames at 16 to 46. Name cards 37 to 93. Name card themes 32 to 89. And as I've previously bought into the Meta Bounty Collection, that makes my badge counter 23 out of 51. And as a final send-off, let's showcase my base design. You see my previous roundups, you know my base designs always come out looking the same, and this scenario 8 is no exception. Classic 5 planter rooms, low sanity constantly, glass everything, you know the drill. Improved on the base design slightly by opting not to put glass walls at the bottom level of my base and instead replacing them with columns, so you can freely move and exit my base without getting stuck in the walls. So there we have it. You can see we're actually heading off to a new scenario early on this one. It's a real shame for server 68. I figured it'd offer me some good luck with the namesake at least, but alas, that hasn't been the case. Too quiet for us ultimately, and I would like to go back to PvE anyway, so I'm fine with the decision. I'd obviously like to get to the scenario signups to make it proper, but I'd also be looking at another 10 days wait time. So in that, viewers are going to be moving over to the Endless Dream scenario, server 31, so say hello if you see me about. Thank you very much for watching, and take care.